Happy WNBA Wednesday. Is that a thing? I know we have WNBA Mondays, but we're WNBA Wednesday today. Terrika Foster-Brasby, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, girl. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, listen, T, there is so much talk right now around the MVP conversation. Of course, it's that time of year. There's a handful of games remaining, depending on what team you are, 6 to 7 games. And but the MVP race has heated up. And you never really know how an MVP race is gonna go. Last year, Asia just did some nextness, and so that's it. She was unanimous, right? But in 2023, we had a really tight race, and like this year's race is turning into that. It's gonna be a photo finish, if you will. And so I always love listening to, obviously talking to our colleagues in the media to sort of see how people are like thinking about the race. But I also love to see the discourse online too. And some of it is like really crazy. And of course, it's a lot of fans, stands, if you will, jockeying for their player. But one constant that I see, whether it's the fans saying it, whether it's teams saying it, especially the Mercury on behalf of Alyssa Thomas, but just saying that there's certain candidates we're not talking about enough, that they're not getting enough attention or spotlight. So, I wanted to talk about today two players who have definitely been mentioned in the MVP race, and that's Alyssa Thomas and Allisha Gray. And I specifically was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till Terrika joins me because obviously with your experience as a Sun sideline reporter, you covered Alyssa Thomas for years when she still played for the Connecticut Sun and know her very well. So you're very familiar with her play and what she does for her team. You were there when she almost could have maybe potentially won an MVP back in 2023. So everything there is about Alyssa Thomas. And so I really want to make sure any kind of MVP conversation that was going to involve her, I had you here. And so, let's do something a little fun today. Okay?
Okay.
I'm a lawyer. So, I love to look at both sides of cases and things like that. But I know you can debate with me, and I also know you can hold your own with the best of them. So Terrika, would love it if, I'm not saying like this is who you're voting for. I don't know. I'm not asking you that. But tell our viewers what the MVP case is for Alyssa Thomas, the engine, as some know her as. But what is the MVP case for her? Because people feel like she's not getting enough attention. So for people who may not be familiar with her, who want to know why she should be MVP, what is that case?
I love this. So let me first say that my major in college was political science pre-law. So I thought that I at one point was going to be a lawyer, and I was captain of the debate team. So I live for this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Live for it. But you're right. I did get an opportunity to watch Alyssa Thomas. And ironically, today, what popped up in my memories was a conversation that she and I had after a game last year when she had completed a triple-double. So it's like full circle moment popping up in my memories for today. But when we talk about the MVP race in the WNBA this year, Alyssa Thomas has to be a part of that conversation, because once again, she's putting together one of the most unique seasons that we've ever seen. Like, it's not about what she's doing on the box scores, because she's not just stuffing box scores. She's literally rewriting history. Thomas has 7 triple-doubles this season. I'm going to let that sink in. 7. That's more than the rest of the league combined. And when you look overall at the 55 triple-doubles that this league has seen in history, she has 22 of them.
40%. That's 40%, just in case anybody wants to do the math.
Right. And I'm going to take it even a step further to tell you why that matters, right? Because you guys know me, I do not like to do a lot of NBA to WNBA comparisons. But in the WNBA, triple doubles are incredibly hard to come by, because when you compare it to the NBA, WNBA players play 40 minutes. NBA players play 48. the game is usually played at a little bit of a slower pace, which generally means that the stat totals are a bit lower. So pulling off a triple-double in the WNBA is rare air. And before Alyssa Thomas started to do it, you could have maybe counted on your hand a handful across the entire league. The thing is, she's making this look routine. And so people are kind of starting to take for granted just how incredible this is because she does it so well and so often. And it's not just one category, right? Like, she's playing like this across the board. She's leading the league in assists. She's top 3 in rebounds. She's top 3 in scoring. She's still among the leaders in steals. So her defensive effort hasn't went anywhere. There really isn't a single part of the game that Alyssa Thomas doesn't impact. And that level of versatility to me is unmatched. So if I'm thinking about a case for Alyssa Thomas, right, one conversation that we always have is this word around value. What's valuable? Is it valuable to my team? Is it valuable to the league? And I think that I probably just stated all of the reasons that she's valuable to the league, but she's absolutely valuable to her team because Phoenix knows she is the engine. She is the reason that this Mercury team literally flipped their narrative from last season to now and have climbed up the standings. Like, Alyssa Thomas is, if you take Alyssa Thomas away, this is a completely different team. And so I know that Asia's chasing her fourth, and Fee has been the front runner from the beginning of the season. And both of those players are amazing. But I would say that if you're arguing for Alyssa Thomas, your central argument is that no one has impacted the game in as many ways and as consistently as Alyssa Thomas has, doing things that we've never done before and being the person that quite literally makes her team go. That is the definition of valuable. So there is a case for Alyssa Thomas. Y'all better quit playing with her and quit sleeping on her and quit playing in her face. She has a case.
She absolutely has a case, and that was excellent. And not that you need any extra help, but I just thought when you talked about her leading the league in assists, that's as a forward.
As a forward.
And, a lot of times when people look at Alyssa Thomas and they compare her with Asia and Fee, some of the other posts in this conversation, like if you just look at the box score, you're just like, oh, their box scores might jump out because they're averaging over 20, close to 24 points. But Alyssa Thomas is basically averaging a near triple-double, 16, 9, and 9, essentially. And so, first of all, it's a near triple-double. Those are great stats in itself, but it's 9 assists. So she's still generating the same offense. It's just in the form of assists rather than points. You could argue that she's generating more offense, And so that, that's the single season record is her own record that she broke, by the way.
That she broke.
And then the 15 assists and 15 rebounds, by the way, yesterday, that's never been done in a WNBA game ever by a player that she just did last night. So last night was all kinds of historic. Broke her own single season record for triple doubles. This 15 and 15 game. She is obviously a very worthy candidate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
she is 100% living the cliche of I am competing with myself. Like, she's competing with herself, and it's amazing. But I know that you also mentioned Allisha Gray, and so I'm assuming that this is gonna be your argument.
Yes, that's right. Because I gotta make the argument for Big Leash, not the little one, Big Al. All of her nicknames.
Yes.
But Allisha Gray, I might have to agree a little bit with fans. Not that I understand why people feel like Alyssa Thomas is overlooked, but I do have to agree with the sentiment that she probably isn't discussed as much as she should, And first of all, I just want to see the MVP candidates right now, because we know there is Allisha Gray is in the conversation. You have Alyssa Thomas, but also Napheesa Collier and A'ja Wilson. So these are the 4 candidates right now. And so when you look at Allisha Gray's stats in comparison to them, of course, if you're just like, okay, look, Fee and A'ja are averaging more and Alyssa Thomas has this near triple double. First of all, just notice these are all posts, okay? Center to forwards, these are players that play in the post. Allisha Gray is a guard, and I think it's really important to make that distinction, okay? But she still has the box score numbers, as you can see, right? But then the other thing I want to talk about is because Allisha Gray, on over 6 attempts per game on threes, is shooting close to 40%. She's almost 39% on threes, okay? And I'm gonna say why that matters, because in this league today, the three is the great equalizer, and it's really important. And because of her efficient shooting this year and the gravity and the attention that she draws, right, it opens up so much for her teammates, okay? So the other reason I want to point that out is because we can't just look at field goal percentage. Because she shoots a lot of threes, you have to look at her true shooting percentage. That's going to take into account that she shoots threes, how often she gets to the free throw line. So in that graphic that we just showed, it looked like she had the least, highest field goal percentage, but her true shooting percentage is actually only second to Napheesa Collier, okay? So it is 59%. So she is incredibly efficient. So that's not gonna be reflected here because we put their basic box score stats, but I wanna be clear, her true shooting percentage is 59.8. It's basically 60%. So she's ahead of Asia slightly at 58.1 and Alyssa Thomas at 57.4. So that means when you look at true shooting percentage, when it equalizes things, she's actually just as efficient as these bigs. And that's why we use a stat like that. The other thing, though, that's really notable about Allisha Gray, Rhyne Howard went down with an injury this season. So did BG, Brittany Griner. Yep. But her backcourt mate is Rhyne Howard. And what happened during that period where Rhyne Howard was out? Allisha Gray led her team to the 2nd seed. They are currently in possession of the 2nd seed. Overtook the reigning champs, the New York Liberty, okay?
Yeah.
And so she has her team currently in the 2nd spot when they last year barely made the playoffs, Terrika, okay? They went from the 8th seed to the 2 seed, all right? And she is at the forefront of it. And by no means, I want to be very clear, I'm not trying to suggest the team is better without Rhyne Howard, but we understand the defensive load that Rhyne Howard carries as well as her offense. Well, guess what? Allisha Clark is getting it done on both sides of the court this year. Offense and defense. I'm sure any voter is probably considering her potentially for an all-defensive team as well. So she's doing it on the offensive end and defensive end with a lot of new pieces that were integrated. You added Brittany Griner, okay? You added Bree Jones, okay? You added new players. You have a brand new coach, a brand new system. They're playing differently. This is a lot of change in one season, and to lift your team to almost the 2nd seed, that is incredible value. And so she obviously has the case to be MVP. Those are the things that stand out to me, and that is to me among just many other things that people should be considering. And the last thing I'll just say about Allisha Gray is, in my opinion, I think she's a lock for all WNBA first team. This is not like the NBA. Well, the NBA actually changed, but there was a time when in the NBA it used to have to be like 3 front court players, 2 back court, similar to how we do all-star voting. But it's positionless, right?
It's positionless.
And so the fact that she's likely going to be on there with 3 posts, and we don't know who the 5th spot's going to go to as a guard, is incredible. That she's matching that level of play of MVP level players, people who won that award in the past, that she's matching that level to be on a team with them. Come on, what else can you say? So
And I think I would add to that, the one thing that maybe you didn't say is that this ain't Leisha's first time doing it. Leash been doing this since she's been in the league, but people have not been paying attention to Atlanta. And that is one of the arguments that I consistently make about being MVP, is that as much as it is a personal and individual performance award, we can't deny the fact that people put stock into how much your team helps you. And if you are playing this well on a team that isn't winning, your case gets harder. Well, she's playing on a team that's currently sitting number 2 in the league. So that is not an argument that we need to hear from people anymore.
That's right. Guys, look at what we do. You asked for MVP cases and we gave it to you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, the WNBA on NBC, so you get this kind of content going forward on the WNBA.